Neville Goddard spoke about that quietly ends an old life before anything changes on the outside. Most people miss it, and that's why manifestation feels so frustratingly out of reach. I'm about to reveal a very subtle moment, one that most people miss, but Neville Goddard made it clear. Your old life doesn't end when your situation changes. It ends the moment you feel one specific thing. And if you've ever felt stuck, if you've ever tried to manifest something again and again with no results, it's probably because this moment never truly happened for you. So stay with me, because this is the turning point. One of Neville Goddard's most powerful teachings, one that most people never truly absorb, is this: feeling is the one and only medium through which ideas are conveyed to the subconscious. Now pause. He didn't say belief. He didn't say repetition. He didn't even say thought. He said feeling, because feeling is what signals to the subconscious this is real. But here's the uncomfortable truth most people miss: you're already impressing your subconscious every single day, not with your desires, not with your goals, but with your reactions, with your fear, with your resignation, with that quiet agreement you make every morning when you wake up and think, nothing's changed. That right there is a feeling. And that's what your subconscious accepts as truth. So no matter how many times you visualize, if you still feel like the version of yourself who is waiting, you haven't moved. And the world keeps handing you more of the same, not because it's punishing you, but because you haven't emotionally stopped being the person who doesn't have it. That's why Neville said, open quote, "The man who does not control the feeling may easily impress the subconscious with undesirable states." Close quote. You don't need to mean to do it. You don't need to try. You just need to feel helpless, anxious, doubtful, consistently, and that becomes your world. So here's the turning point. It's not when the thing arrives. It's not when you crack the technique. It's the moment you feel something different and let that new feeling become your emotional home. That's when the old life can't hold on to you anymore, because your subconscious has been handed new instructions, not from your mouth, but from your state. That's where your story shifts. That's when the door opens. So how do you do that? How do you move from knowing this intellectually to actually living from it? Because there is a way, there is a moment, not external, not loud, but deeply internal, where the shift begins. And if you know how to create it deliberately, if you know how to bring that new feeling into the body and hold it long enough for it to feel like home, then your world cannot stay the same. And that's what I'm about to show you now. Let's begin. Step one, recognize the old self is just a habit. Let's get something clear. Your old life, the thoughts you think, the way you react, the assumptions you make without realizing it, is not who you are. It's not fixed, it's not final, and it's definitely not fate. It's a pattern, a repeated script you've been running for so long that it's started to feel like identity. Neville called this the old man, not because of age, but because it's the outdated version of you, kept alive through emotional repetition. You keep feeling the same way in familiar situations. You keep believing the same limitations. You keep reacting from the same wound, the same story, the same assumptions. And slowly, quietly, you reinforce that old self every single day without even trying. That version of you doesn't exist because it's true. It exists because it's familiar. But here's the powerful truth Neville hinted at. The old self ends the moment you emotionally detach from it. Not when you fix everything, not when life finally changes, not when you figure it all out. It ends when you stop feeling like them, when you stop emotionally agreeing with their story, when you stop getting the same emotional payoff from the same tired loop. This doesn't mean you never feel fear, doubt, or grief. It means you stop letting those feelings anchor you to a version of you that's no longer alive. This isn't pretending, it's recognition. You see the pattern and say, that's not me anymore. And moment by moment, you withdraw your belief from it. That's the beginning of true transformation. Not effort, not control. just emotional disloyalty to who you used to be. And once you stop emotionally showing up for the old you, that version loses power. It can't survive without your agreement. That's how the old life ends, not with change, but with disconnection. Step two, feel the new state more deeply than the old one. Neville said, open quote, you must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, close quote. Not act like it's done, not force belief, not visualize harder until you're exhausted, but feel it so clearly, so vividly, that it becomes more real than what your five senses are telling you. Because you don't manifest from effort, you manifest from naturalness, from being the version of you who already has it. That version isn't convincing themselves. They're not looking for signs. They're not anxiously checking circumstances. They simply live it. They rest in it. So, how do you do that? You stop trying to make it happen. You close your eyes, slow your breath, and tune into what it would feel like if it were already done. If the money was there, how would your chest feel when you relaxed? If the relationship was healed or released, how would your energy shift? How would your energy shift? If you were already chosen, supported, successful, what would you stop worrying about? That's what you tune into, not with your head, but with your body. And when that state becomes more familiar than your current circumstances, the old timeline dissolves because two states cannot occupy the same space. You always manifest from the one you feel most at home in. So make the new feeling your home, not just during practice, but all day until it feels normal, until it feels like you. Step three, the emotional line you never cross, back over. There's a moment and it's quiet. No lightning, no announcement, but it's real. It's the moment you realize, I can't be that version of me anymore. Not because you're trying, but because something inside you has snapped out of agreement. There's no going back. The old story feels strange in your mouth. The triggers don't stick. You stop explaining, you stop proving. You just know you've crossed the line. And that line isn't external, it's emotional, it's energetic, and it's final. Neville didn't say try until it happens. He said persist until it feels natural. Because once it feels natural, the shift is irreversible. You stop chasing the dream, you start living it internally, and reality adjusts quietly, inevitably. Not because you begged it to, but because you became someone it could no longer ignore. So let me ask you, have you felt that moment yet? If you have, even for a second, type in the comments, I've crossed the line. Let it be a declaration, a commitment, a signal to your deeper self. Because your new life doesn't wait. It begins the moment you feel the truth of who you've become and never go back. If this message resonated with you, subscribe to Stories and Quotes B for more timeless wisdom and inner transformation. Your new state is already here. Now live from it.